indefinitely.
Mr.
Open the
Chairman,
roll.
haven't voted on the, and we're still not.
No. Open the. This is on to pass the bill by indefinitely.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
All right, the bill is passed by indefinitely. Thank you very much. Do you have another bill, Sir McClellan?
Yeah, I'm going to roll my Senate Bill 288 into Senator Favola's Senate Bill 119. And as I do that, this one was also requested by the Chief of Police for the City of Richmond, and Deputy Drew can answer any questions after Senator Favola has presented if necessary.
All right. So your bill 288
Yes.
into
119.
119.
Into what?
All right.
Can you repeat that?
Now,
Can you repeat that?
okay. Now,
What are we doing? Which bill?
I would note that this is one of the bills that is in identical form to a bill introduced last year.
Correct. That's correct.
Senate
Mr.
Bill 809 that was last year passed by indefinitely on a 9-6 vote. Not that I want to short circuit it, but there are a lot of bills and certainly want to give you an opportunity to be heard.
I'll be very brief, Mr. Chairman. What this bill does is it would require an individual who realizes a firearm has been lost or stolen to report that to either the local police or the state police within 24 hours. And then the police would be required to enter that information into the National Crime Information Center. It's maintained by the FBI. I just want to note that stolen guns help supply the market for crimes rather regularly. And a U.S. Department of Treasury study revealed that 25% of gun trafficking investigations involved stolen firearms. And it's also important to note that another study found that states without mandatory loss or stolen reporting laws export 2.5 times more crime guns across state lines than those jurisdictions with such laws. I'm not telling the committee any information we haven't already heard, but Virginia has been noted as one of these gun-running states. I think it's time we stop that and we take positive action. I ask you to pass this bill.
But the people who are victims of a loss or a theft, I mean, they're not gun runners. I mean, are they? And this is what they
Well, the fact is,
addresses.
well, they're not necessarily gun runners, but if they don't report the stolen firearm, it's in the hands of somebody who obviously could not be doing something noble and probably not following the law.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
All right. Questions?
Senator
Peterson.
Favola, let me ask you,
Mr. Chairman.
how would somebody actually prosecute this? I mean, again, if you have a situation where your family owns firearms, your deceased parents or grandparents own firearms, and, I mean, who's going to be accountable for that? I mean, again, I just don't see how something like this would actually be prosecuted. I understand it's good to report when something gets stolen, but
Right.
lost is a little bit different. And
That's a fair statement. The section B, as you know, in the bill has language about a civil penalty and fines. But to your point, if somebody doesn't know it's lost, or if somebody, I mean, this bill only applies if the person actually knows.
right.
But
I guess my follow-up question, Mr. Chair, is
Senator Peterson.
typically the Commonwealth's attorney will bring a criminal charge. A civil charge, I don't even really know who would bring it. Would the county attorney bring it? Would you have to self-report and say, gosh, I forgot to do this? And
I guess I would defer to counsel on that. I don't have an answer to that question.
Well, these are all issues that we discussed last year when the bill was before us. And I would also note, Senator Wexton is here. She also has Senate Bill 433 that is identical, except that the civil penalties in Senator Wexton's bill are more severe, higher than in these two bills. So it may be that we will want to.
Mr. Chairman, I'm happy for my bill to be rolled into.
Okie doke. All right.
No move.
Second. All right, we might as well do that right now. Motion is to roll Senate Bills 119 and 433 into Senate Bill 288. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? All right. The vehicle is Senate Bill 288. Okay,
It's
anything
Senate Bill
further?
It's not Senate Bill 119, which is what I was speaking
I'm
to.
sorry, it's
You meant-
119.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I lost track of
I have all these bill
who,
numbers.
who wants it. It's Senator Peterson.
Okay, one last question, and maybe this will change this from the stick to the carrot. What if you just eliminated subsection B, which is the civil penalty, and just left if you did report it and it's subsequently used in a crime, then you won't be held liable for the crime, which in other words, people would have an incentive. I think that's
enough.
better because just can't imagine a Commonwealth's attorney prosecuting somebody for $50.
No, that's fair.
It's not
that's
gonna
fair.
happen.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Peterson, I'm happy to accept that amendment.
Within those notes.
So with that amendment,
That would,
one would
basically-
be subject to criminal prosecution but not civil penalty. Okay.
I thought you made it more of an incentive. We
Right.
would remove section B.
you just take out section B,
Yeah, we're just removing section B.
Section B.
right.
And I'm fine with that.
Well, I'll move that if I can get a second.
That's what Mr.
There you go.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to remove section B. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed?
No.
All right, fails 1-1. All right, let's open the roll. I said we'd vote in the event of any dissent. This is to amend to remove section B. All in, clerk will open the roll. All right, so the bill is before us in its amended form. Let's hear from supporters and opponents, very briefly.
Deputy Chief Steve Drew of the Richmond Police Department, we certainly support this bill, agree with taking out Section B. That's what we're trying to promote is responsible gun ownership. It will help us in investigations, know what kind of firearms are out there on the street and how we can better address them. Thank you, sir.
Can't legislate everything.
How would you enforce it? You wouldn't.
Chairman, excuse me, committee members, David Mitchell, General Counsel for the Richmond Police Department. What's important to think about is if the police departments across the state lack a lot of information regarding firearms that are later recovered in crimes, you need to think about working backwards. We don't start with the firearm being stolen. We start with the firearm being recovered by police when a crime is committed days, weeks, or months down the road. And if the police can't ascertain where that firearm came from, there are many crimes that could be going unsolved. Home invasions, vehicle burglaries, other items that were stolen in the larceny, perhaps credit card fraud, drug related. There are a lot. You can't think of it as on the front end, but on the back, allowing the officers to have sufficient information when they recover the firearm to then trace back and solve other crimes. And this is not to punish lawful, law-abiding gun owners who are victims of crimes already. We're not victimizing victims. We're just providing information to law enforcement. Thank you.
Josh Horowitz, Educational Fund to Stop Gun Violence. Just a couple quick points, Mr. Chairman, to get to Senator Peterson's point. I think it's knowledge plus 24 hours is when you have to report. You were asking when you had to report on that. I also want to make the point that John Lott said a lot of crime is driven by stolen firearms. This is something to help law enforcement with that. And I'll make the point that Virginia, this is new data that you haven't heard before. Virginia is one of the top 5 outside sources of guns linked to crimes in 13 other states. It's the top source of crime guns in the District of Columbia, Maryland, New York, and West Virginia. And of course, stolen guns from Virginia are leading the recovery in Virginia itself.
Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Andrew Goddard, Virginia Centre for Public Safety. We support this bill, especially with the amendment, because we prefer the idea of the carrot and not the stick. One thing that's not been mentioned is this would have a chilling effect on straw purchasing. A straw purchaser who serially goes out and buys guns for people who shouldn't be able to have them is not going to want to go to the police station every week and report that, oh, you're not going to believe this, but that gun I bought on Saturday has already been stolen. So that's a good point.
Thank you very much. All right.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator McDougal.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if the committee realized this, but by voting to eliminate subsection B, you've now made it a criminal Class 1 misdemeanor because any violation not specifically delineated in the code is determined to be a misdemeanor. So now if you don't report your firearm within 24 hours, you're a misdemeanor. But with that, Mr. Chairman, I move that this bill be PBI'd.
All right, it's been moved. Is there a second? All right, it's been moved and seconded to pass the bill by
Mr. Chairman,
indefinitely.
substitute motion, the bill be reported.
Substitute motion is to report the bill. All right, all in favor? Well, clerk will open the roll. This is to report the bill.
Ayes 6, noes 9.
All right, the primary motion is to pass the bill by indefinitely. Clerk will open the roll
Well, that's just gonna take.
or reverse the vote. Open the roll.
What I would have done is,
Okay.
statute date.
Let's pay attention.
Ayes 11, noes 4.
Did everybody get their vote in there right? No. I suspect maybe not.
I think it's just fine, Mr. Chairman.
Somebody want to move to reconsider?
So moved.
Huh? Oh, okay, haven't reported it. We'll strike the board. Clerk will reopen the roll. The motion is to pass a bill by indefinitely.
Ayes 9, noes 6.
All right. Bills are passed by indefinitely. Thank you very much. Next, Sir Chase, you ready? Finished? Is it? I'm sorry, Senator Favola, do you have another?
I have several
I'm really
others.
sorry.
Do you want me to keep going?